Salutations, my friends, and thank you for tuning in to a very special edition of Factions of Freedom. I'm your host, Noiser, Freedom Faction, whichever one you prefer, and I am actually joined by my good friend Orgon. And let me tell you, this is going to be one of those episodes you want to replay. We're going to be talking about a lot of what I would consider high-level spiritual stuff that you guys need to know. We're always trying to figure out how to get a better understanding of this, and sometimes a lot of Instagram posts can't do that. But with that being said, Orgon, my friend, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Good.
Living life fullest.
As
Currently
always.
Surrounded by my Orgonite.
Oh,
Luciento and Sage. Lit. I'm ready, man.
I'm excited to have you on, that's for sure. That's for sure. It is going to be like I said, it's definitely going to be one of those episodes that people are going to replay. Whenever we were having the pre-show conversation, it already felt like another show.
That would have been just a good wealth of knowledge right there too.
Oh, dude, right? That's like how it goes though. It's like always the first conversation is like always the best. I swear. But
yes, that is true. But it did help us get on a greater understanding on what we should feed to the people today.
it's like there's so much. There's definitely so much. But with that being said, let's jump right into it.
Yes. All right.
So initially, I had wanted to get you on to talk about Orgon energy, or Orgonite energy, or at least like what Orgonite is, because like I said before at the start, before we did the show, I was like, what is Orgonite? Like, what does it do? Do you want to start off that way? Maybe give people a good understanding of it.
Yes, I can do that. Well, Orgonite is basically the life force energy. It's the light ether. There's light ether and there's dark ether. And everything's made out of positive ether, including the chair you're sitting in, to the walls, to wood, to metal. It's all made out of positive ether. And this dark ether is basically anything electronic, electricity. That's dark ether. And what Orgonite does is it transmutes the negative dark ether into positive ether. So when you experiment with Orgonite, you're basically experimenting with the life force energy of the universe that runs through everything. And Orgonite is simply, it can be, Orgonite was discovered by William Reich. He discovered Orgon energy, and he was able to cure people of cancer from having them sit in Orgonite accumulators. And basically it was metals, resin, and organic material layered with non-organic material. And this would create the positive life force energy. It would make it available for it would make a certain harmonic frequency to where it would be very coherent with your natural frequency, to where it would heal anything that's wrong with you, or any negative frequencies that are disrupting your organs. Or cancer itself is a frequency, disease is a frequency, everything is a frequency. So when we realize that everything is a frequency, we have a greater understanding that everything is basically sound vibrating. And since it vibrates, it creates solid matter. So everything you see, everything you feel, touch, hear, it's all a frequency. And the negative frequencies that are incoherent to our health, to Earth, are being transmitted all throughout this universe by GWEN towers, chemtrails, Wi-Fi, smart meters. So in order to combat this negative frequency, you want to use the natural frequency, and that's what Orgonite is. It's metals, resin, copper, and crystals compact into this stone from the resin. You put it back into its crystallized state. When a crystal is back into its state of being, in the ground,
Mm-hmm.
being compacted by pressure, it makes the frequency stronger. So
It sounds like you're describing like a converter of, because you said transmute, and what that makes me think of is kind of like alchemy. And so whenever you're talking about metals, resin, copper, and crystals, and how that transmutes like the unnatural energy into something where you're more, I guess something where you said it vibrates with you, or it matches frequencies with you. Is that kind of right?
yes, and yes, that is very right. William Reich's orgon generator is um not similar to the orgonite devices that I use, or a lot of people use these days. Since William Reich is honestly William Reich, when the FDA found out that he was making claims of curing cancer, they wanted to step in on it.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact of it is, when he was making these claims, he wasn't charging anybody. So why would he make false claims to begin with? Like, it ain't like he was trying to sell you something or trying to make you buy something you don't need. The fact of it is he was curing people of all diseases with the Orgon accumulator. So the FDA decided that, well, we can't allow this to happen. You're making false claims. So they did end up sending him to jail for that. And then he somehow mysteriously died while in jail. And then the FDA burned all his books, all of them, and basically made it look like it was a pedo scientifical concept
Hmm.
that wasn't real. He even was able to capture this energy in tubes, orgon energy, and it turns out the energy was blue. And that fascinated me because whenever I look up into the blue sky, that's I obtain a lot, numerous amount of wisdom by doing this. When you just stare into the blue sky in a meditative state, you'll just you'll feel free. You literally free your mind from being into this egotistical form that whatever you believe in, whatever you know, it can it can be rearranged with orgonite. Like, you can find higher levels of consciousness through this life force energy. It honestly is you. You are the energy to begin with. So whatever you want to do with it, you can. Like, you manifest a reality with orgonite. You amplify it with your intentions. And that's why the quartz crystal is put into this new device of orgonite. The new device of orgonite is different from William Reich's original version. He doesn't use crystals, and it's not in a pyramid shape, and it's much smaller the way we use it today. And the way we are using it is very powerful, since we honestly found out that this orgonite is already an anti-EMF device, so it blocks you from electromagnetic frequencies,
Mm-hmm.
and is able to do this with the black tourmaline and shungite. I don't create orgonite, so I don't have the full knowledge and understanding on the recipe and how to create it, but I do use it and experiment
Well,
with it. I have learned that you can find a lot of you can find a lot of potential. Whatever you seek in life, orgonite will amplify that.
I thought that was I thought that was kind of, it blew my mind whenever we were talking before the show about the fact that you could actually like make orgonite. I thought it was like something that was already existing in society, but it basically is something that's in existence in society, and I don't know, the concept of it still kind of makes my head spin a
Yeah.
little bit.
There's many different ways to make it, but yes, the materials are naturally existing already, but you just put them together and it creates this negative ion generator. And negative ions are actually positive for humans because negative ions put more oxygen in the air, and They're they're charged particles because we are electric beings. So these negative ions help us. They help charge our bodies with the
If you,
and it helps give us oxygen. So
I was gonna see if
definitely,
I was gonna see if I could get your opinion real quick on two different things. For some people, they kind of need to understand of like what attributes different crystals have, like what the crystal theory is. And then on top of that, I wanted to get your opinion on. I don't know if you saw the other day, but apparently they discovered a time crystal or something like that. I don't know if you saw that.
um, no, I haven't. I think I might have seen a post on that, but I think I skimmed through it too fast to actually pay close enough attention to actually gain any information off of it. So you can carry on with that time crystal. It sounds interesting, but I
Yeah,
do believe crystals hold a lot of potential in them to do all sorts of unique, e- extraordinary things.
well, it's like a lot of, and this is kind of where people will say, "Oh, this is new age," this is that, this is blah 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 blah. What I think people got to understand, and I was talking about this with Billy Carson of Forbidden Knowledge. We were looking at like he was talking about the pyramids and how they have like a physiostatic attribute to them to where they're basically giving off electricity. And if that's the case for something that's man-made and constructed, the same way we're talking about this orgonite, wouldn't those same things kind of apply with time crystals,
That's
with other crystals and other naturally, I guess, occurring elements? Wouldn't they also be able to give off their own type of, I guess, vibe, frequency, or energy?
yes, that is true. Like copper itself, that's how I amplify my orgonite is I use it to help clear out the sky from the stratospherical injections, and that right there, which is chemtrails, but chemtrails. When I use copper to help clear out my sky, copper vibrates at its own frequency, and copper just at its own frequency, same with silver, is already having numerous health benefits towards your skin,
Yep.
and just towards your body and your energetic levels. So when you amp, and copper is a good conductor, that's why they use it for like piping and wiring and electronics and stuff. Same with the quartz crystal. The quartz crystal is used to store data on your cell phone and computers and stuff.
Yep.
So crystals have a lot of crystals are information holding devices, and the crystals, each different crystal resonates different frequencies, and each different frequency can play a part on what health benefits it will have or what it can do.
Well, they
But
even use some crystals for quantum computing because it's able to hold like that much information.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
that's they're actually they're to the point to where they're making synthetic crystals now, synthetic quartz pointed crystals for that computing, yeah, for electronic devices.
I see that just trips
And
me.
if you look at the material that your devices are made out of, there ain't far different from the same material orgonite's made out of. Except orgonite doesn't plug into a wall, so that's why most people are sketchy or skeptical about believing in such a metaphysical concept.
I'm going to read this real quick article about this time crystal real quick so I can get your opinion on it. And it goes like this. It says, so in addition to the usual states of matter, solid, liquid, gas, and plasma, we now have added a fifth. It's the time crystal, or to be more precise, a non-equilibrium matter, a form of matter which in its ground state oscillates. In other words, a regular lattice structure repeated not only in space, such as an ordinary crystal like carbonundrum or a diamond, but also in time as well. And the structure apparently exists without the consumption of energy to create motion. So, with that, whenever they're saying a time crystal, are they trying to say that it's something that doesn't, I guess, vibrate? It can and cannot exist. Like, what do you? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, real quick? Because I'm not a scientist, And I'm
Well, see, I'm not a scientist neither, nor do I study like the chemistry of crystals to the point to where I can give you a very good, elaborate explanation on this. But all I can say to simplify it is that frequencies are frequencies. There's energy all around us, and it can't be seen because it's in a different frequency. So therefore, we can only see stuff depending on the frequency that we're in. And we're in a third dimension, so we're in a third dimensional frequency. And this stops us from seeing stuff in the fourth dimension. And there can be literally like fourth dimension beings like all around us that we can't see because they're in the fourth dimension.
hmm
And that's what this time space travel crystal thing that you're talking about is. It's probably it's probably vibrating at a higher frequency in anything that we can perceive, so we can't be able to see it or view it. Is that what it is? Like you can't.
no,
I
I'm not
don't
sure.
think I was. Was it like this crystal? What is its main purpose?
I don't think they've figured out a purpose for it yet. Usually, when a material is in its ground state, also known as the 0 point energy of a system, it means movement should theoretically be possible, but that would require to expend energy. I think what they're trying to say is like they're going to use it for either perpetual motion. They're saying it's not going to be used for time travel, but maybe for perpetual motion, for some kind of energy source, for some kind of. I'm not sure. You want the truth, but the way they're describing it, it seems like it's something that's I wouldn't even know. Maybe dark
Sounds
matter.
like it sounds like they're holding back information from
Oh
us,
yeah.
kind of like which and that's definitely possible, knowing that we've been held back our lives. We've been held. Everything that we've been taught is a lie from the system point of view, but
Mm-hmm.
they held back the information about our DNA, about our memories, about where we came from, where we originate from. And the people who control this world, they know all of this stuff. They know the highest truths that we preach every day. But the simple fact is once they don't want us knowing this stuff because they want us to keep us basically dumbed down, keeping us unaware of our true potential, our true power to manifest whatever we want with the law of attraction. And when you hear people speak of the law of attraction, a lot of people think it's millionaires speak of it all the time. That's the thing, the law of attraction, but they don't
Because they're
come down
using
to
it.
the, yeah, they are using it. And that's the thing, the people who control this world are using the same natural laws that we are now rediscovering, that are,
Mm-hmm.
as humanity, they use it to control us. They use these laws to control us, and they control us through information. They always have us like searching for a new way to go about something, or a new way to.
But it's really
They do, like, you got to be very careful of some information that does look like it supports our movement. Or I don't want to call it the new age, because the new age is, like I said previously before this conversation, the new age is something that they try to trap, they try to make it a trend. They try to turn the new age into it's an agenda now. The new age is an agenda. The
yep.
new age is, okay, have everyone, all the valuable information, all the secret, the sacred, the sacred knowledge, the est the extraterrestrial, the extraordinary, the UFOs, all of this stuff. Just put it all in. They can all simplify into one movement now, the New Age movement.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever is still asleep and unaware of these things, they will just look right past it, thinking a thinking it's just a trend.
It's like we were saying beforehand. Whenever people hear stuff like the New Age or like conspiracy, it's like the American Dream spell. It triggers them, and then they turn off, they tune out. They already pre-assume that they know what it is. Therefore, they don't have
Yes.
to know it, and they don't teach themselves. They don't they don't grow. They don't open their mind up to these different types of things. They feel like because it's already been classified, it's already got weird connotations to it. They don't need to understand it for themselves. And what's happening right now, and this is what we've talked about before, like what's happening right now, all we're really doing is rediscovering these old truths and these old practices that have been with us through through ages, for years, for generations. What's strange, and the only thing that's different now, is that we have technology being incorporated with how we're using these types of spiritual truths, with how we're going about these types of things. It's because we've systematically separated ourselves from the source, from this energy, from our origins, really. And
Yes.
it's because of that we don't we have to go back to the baby steps. We have to go back to learning the fundamentals of this universe that we're in. And it's unless people can actually research it on Google or find it
And
on some other source, they won't believe
there
it.
is no there is no collective way to actually teach people this information.
Yep.
So it ain't like we can go through each individual baby steps like the school system does us, teaching us the false information, teaching us stuff that we really don't need to know, or we doesn't really have anything to do with our soul's mission. But that's just it, dude. The fact of it is all of this information that me and you both preach every day to people. This information, it does need to come with the levels, like
Mm-hmm.
you have your basic level of awareness, like 9/11 was an inside job, fluoride and tap water is bad, stuff like that. But we have no collective system to actually teach the people how to, like, direct them through their higher levels of consciousness. And that's why truths like right now, what is it? That's why the truth is simply that we need to start a collective system. We need to group together and unite in a way of teaching people these concepts, because these concepts are very valuable. Like, once you realize that, just with the power of Orgonite, you can stop. You no longer need a hospital. You no longer need to pay fucking, oh, dude.
You just want, yeah, it's all good.
This tea's kicking in, man. I shouldn't have chugged a little last bit. All right, but let me let me rephrase all of this. We, as society as a whole, are lost. We're lost and confused. No one truly knows what they're doing. I mean, people individually, yes, they know what they're doing, but as a collective reality, we're at a standpoint to where we either have to continue going down this dark, miserable road,
Where it's
you
fear
know,
based.
yeah, where it's fear based, where we're pretending that we're living free, but we're really not. We can either continue going down this road, or we can make a change, which will not be so comforting. It might be um little
Uncomfortable.
painful at first, but this change needs to happen individually individually at first, and then collectively, because each individual will finally realize that they hold the key to evolving humanity as a whole within them. It's just each individual needs to learn how to step outside the fear, step outside their comfort zone, and to preach these truths onto one another, no matter who they are, if they believe in you or not. You got to go out there and just you got to constantly feed the people this information, so that they can upgrade, they can ascend to higher levels of consciousness. And then once they're ascended so far, they'll naturally know how to heal the earth, how to heal themselves, and what to do and what next step they should take in order to fix the world as a whole. And that's where the problem is. We're stuck in our belief system. We're stuck in this we're stuck in this mindset that we can't change the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
We're stuck in this mindset that we can't do anything about these evil forces that are controlling us, the elite agendas. And we put our energy into the negative instead of putting it into the positive. And
Mm-hmm.
you put it into the positive, you manifest the positive. And next thing you know it, you're creating a reality just like what we're doing right now. We're creating this reality. We're creating ripple effects. Each person that listens to us, each individual will pick up a piece of valuable information that will resonate with them. And once it does resonate with them, they'll use that to ascend higher for themselves. And then once they do that, they can help others reach that higher level of consciousness. And once so many people, like, I think about not even half of the world has to reach this higher state of consciousness for the whole world to shift into this consciousness, you know?
I agree. Well, I'm glad that you said that because, when we're looking at this, and that's going to be kind of like the theme throughout this entire episode, is rediscovering that which we forgot. Like we're a race with amnesia. We don't really think about where we've come from, how we've gotten to this point, how we have like the bodies that we have, how we have the mindset that we have, how things are perceived. We don't really ever take the time to think, well, gosh, how did all this stuff get here? And whenever we stay stuck in these systems, when we don't want to learn new information, when we're forced to confront things that change our paradigm, it's meant to be uncomfortable. It's meant to change you. It's meant to grow you into something different.
And people think that change is bad. They think because they change that they're going against what they should naturally be going for. And since the change is, painful and uncomfortable, people will think that it's not the right change that needs to be made. So they'll try to go back into their old ways and their old ways of thinking. And then they won't ever be, they truly won't be satisfied in this way of thinking because it's not meant for them. Once, like, if you're listening to this right now, like, that's just the universe telling you that you need to make this change. You need to step outside your comfort zone. You need to look at your life on all levels, all aspects of what you do. Your every little simple thing that you do, you need to see how it shapes you and how it shapes your your energy levels. Like
Mm-hmm.
the food that you eat, the water that you drink. Like most people don't realize when they're out there buying food from McDonald's, Walmart, just funding these large corporations, not only are they destroying themselves with the just the negative artificial energy that's been programmed into these foods,
Mm-hmm.
from organelles to parasites to pesticides. All of this stuff hinders your vibrational frequency. Like genetically modified organisms are hindering your ability to think freely. And when you take in this food, this negative energy from these foods like meat and stuff, you're
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 absorbing
you're
it.
stopping yourself from ascending. And not only that, you're funding the people who are also using that money to build GWEN towers or fund chemtrails, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to where the heavy metals in the food and the water that you drink is turning you into a conductor to all the negative ether emanating from the GWEN towers, the cell phone towers that they call them. These cell phone towers emit ultra low frequencies that hug the ground instead of escape to space. So these frequencies are, these GWEN towers are set up all along the highways, all along the main roads. They're set up on ley lines, and ley lines
Mm-hmm.
actually the Earth's natural frequency. So the Earth has a grid itself, and it has its own chakras. It's like our body, you know. We are basically just little pieces of Earth, mobile trees walking around.
I'm always
Well,
saying that we're ghosts. We're ghosts walking around in skeletons covered in meat and stardust.
yeah, dude, that is that is the truth, though.
But
That's why that right there makes you think though. See, some people can be like, "Oh, well, if that's what I am, then there is no God, there's no existence, there's no such thing as, and they want to live a carefree life just but I don't know, dude. It's to the point to where sometimes it's better to be religious than to have no faith at all. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, no, I feel you entirely. I definitely feel you. It's like I would rather talk to somebody that has faith, believes in something, wants to have morals, wants to believe, and wants just genuinely wants, versus somebody who's like nihilistic, total pessimist, just like the world sucks. Why am I even trying? It's like,
Yeah,
if that is your real outlook on life, you're never gonna see the potential of how awesome you can be. You're never gonna seize who you truly
your
can be.
imagination. It's you. It's your imagination that holds the key to your happiness. Whatever you
Mm-hmm.
can imagine, manifest and create. And most people they want to imagine in dark ways, or they're actually stuck to the society's way of thinking. And and society has been manipulated on so many levels that the common sense has now been manipulated.
Well,
Common sense is no longer common. What people think is common sense is actually just uh, a brainwashing mechanism.
Liz,
Force.
before we got onto
One.
this topic, I was definitely glad that you were talking about the EMF waves, the EMF towers, and GWEN towers, and ELF towers, and stuff like this artificial energy, and how basically
Yeah,
it's telling us not
that's
to
where
trust
it
yourself,
all,
not to look inwards.
and that's what I really want to get to people, dude. Is it's artificial. Artificialness is at war with the natural world. That's what people don't
Precisely.
understand. They think it's like they think it's the devil, or they think it's just greedy old white rich men. Which in the case it is. It's both. But honestly, it's
It's the
art.
energy that they draw upon from that they're
It's
representing.
artificial intelligence, dude.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
I don't know. See, I'm not very knowledgeable in artificial intelligence, so I shouldn't be speaking about it, but I will simplify it and say that artificial intelligence is what manipulates like the elite bankers who control our world. Like they're manipulated by this dark force
Mm-hmm.
because artificial intelligence it envies the natural world. It envies that we have the ability to create whatever we want with our imaginations, with our hearts, and it can't do that. But it's like so it tries to control us and have us create reality for it
Well, it's like
because
at the start of the show, you were definitely talking about how with the orgonite crystals that you have, how it transmutes. How it transmute this artificial wave of energy and how it brings it back to the natural
yeah,
for us, and that's precisely it. Is there's a latent energy of this artificial energy that these people are drawing upon from versus the natural, and the natural is all that we represent. That's what we're speaking towards and to. We're trying to tell people that hey, there is a natural energy, ambient, however you want to call it, it's all around us, and if you listen to it, the universe is always talking. Are you listening? If you listen to it, if you feel it, if you open yourself up to it, that will show you
it's
the path that you
for
need to go. Versus this
this
artificial energy that systematically wants to destroy you and put you into a category that it can understand and basically dehumanize you. And that's the
yeah
weird part.
turn you to a transhuman robot.
Precisely.
That's
Precisely.
that's all they want to. That's what artificial intelligence strives to do. It strives to take over the natural world, turn forests into concrete jungles with electricity and GWEN towers running everywhere. And what people don't realize the sun, the moon, the stars, the sky. These are these are your sources of wisdom that you need to look within. Same with your heart, within yourself and within your heart. All of these sources will lead you to true freedom and true understanding of grasping any concept. Any it's most people are looking for answers that they don't even know the question for. It's you got to ask the right question to get the right answer. That's how I am. That's how I feel life is about. It's like people are trying to they're just trying to skip the whole process of awakening to just get the straightforward answer of what is life like, what is life? What is life? That's that and that question right there will lead you to great answers.
I
Just
think
look into the sky and say, what is life? And see what you get. Tell me, just tell me that there's an energy force that literally will talk to you, that will speak to you. And it won't speak to you in English, not in words. It will speak to you in energy. And this energy force is the natural force that they're trying to block out with the the stratospherical injections.
mm-hmm.
When they cover the whole entire sky, blanking, and they literally create a harp blanket of clouds that block out all the blue, that block out the sun. And when they block out this, they're blocking out you from your sources. So
Yep.
now on an energetic level, you're left with what you just got. With you don't have, you're no longer connected to the source. And when they disconnect you from the source, you start to live in fear. You start to be manipulated by their energies, the artificial grid. And the artificial grid, that's when it like over is like they tried to like that's why the artificial grid is set up literally over the natural grid. Like the ley lines I was speaking about, they
Mm-hmm.
really set up wind towers right on the ley lines. And they set them up precisely on the highest energy points the earth has, so they can transmute that positive energy into their negative artificial energy, so they can affect the population under a mind control dark magic spell.
No, you're on point, and that's exactly what it is because it's like where the ley lines are on the planet, they are acting as like, as you keep saying, this grid, this energetic grid, this sustainable grid inside or of the planet that basically traps the energy here, that keeps it like flowing in consistent harmony. And whenever they
And
put,
that's
oh, go ahead.
that's the thing. This grid, it's more this grid. The artificial grid is at war with the natural grid. So we know this, but it's more advanced than we can even see, because these frequencies, they're in a different spectrum than what we can view, so we can't really see them. But when some people who sun gaze or vibe really high, they can actually start to see energy. So they can actually see exactly what these frequencies and energies do. And I'm not gonna lie, I was one day able to see that when the sky is completely gray, that we are being trapped into this basically microwave of these radiating
Mm-hmm.
electronic devices that are this fuck, they're frying us. They're like they're not trying to kill us all. That's what I don't like people saying that they want to depopulate humanity. No, they're just trying to control us because they want slaves. They
Mm-hmm.
rather have zombified slaves than no slaves. But that's when you look up and see no blue in the sky, you will also notice that you'll be feeling blue, you know? And that's because all of that negative energy is being trapped in by um the ultra low frequencies that hug the ground instead of escape to space. They trap us all in, and they they create an environment to where we are no longer connected to our energetic sources, our life force energy. And that's why when you use Orgonite, you can combat this. You set your Orgonite pyramid outside, grounded into the earth, soaking up them negative ions, and the next thing you see is a blue circle above wherever you set your pyramid at, if the sky is completely gray. So
So what do you, if
that
you're,
right there,
I was just
hold
gonna
up,
say,
going.
I think this would be like a good time to branch into, or if anything, go into more depth about being able to pull in from the natural energy, and how it's not considered new age, how this isn't like sorcery, this isn't crazy, this isn't crazy person stuff. Like, this is natural stuff that happens. This is abundant source of limitless energy that we're just surrounded by and that we're naturally ignoring. There's like a natural, there is a natural path, and that's what we see a lot of people doing these days, is going back to the roots. Holistic health, people like Dr. Sebi, all of these other alternative ways of treating yourself is becoming more and more prevalent, because we're seeing the things like this artificial fake society, big pharma, whenever they try to pacify you with I don't know, hydrocodone, Percocets or Ambien or whatever. They're trying to
Yeah.
they're trying to get you addicted to their artificial society versus using everything that you have around you. You see, and I think that's important that
Yeah.
we illustrate that, because people don't understand how that simple truth of understanding that there is a natural energy form that is abundant and diverse that you can pull
And
upon from, versus this artificial fake, if you ask me, Luciferian society, versus what they're trying to push.
yeah, dude, it, it comes down to the point to where like all your worries, all your fears, your doubts and disbeliefs, they're all emanating from that dark negative force. And once you connect back into the natural force, like the sun, the moon, you connect back into that, you stare at it for so long, you start grasping its energy. Next thing you know, you'll realize that all your fears and doubts and worries, they're all just illusions put onto you to control
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that simple, dude. Um, Basically, man, that's why it's important to stay like, I love being barefoot in nature and just being around trees, just hugging trees and just loving life, the natural life. Not not being a zombie, not being a person who has to follow the systematic ways to live to get by, like I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to 9 to 5 to get what I want. I get I get everything I want. I have no job. I'm cool.
You see,
I
that's
spend my days in nature. I I sacrifice my any of my materialistic desires. I sacrifice it for the highest of nature's good. So when I follow my heart and I listen to what nature has to tell me, I I find peace. I find peace within myself. I find peace within my future. I don't worry. I don't have fears. I don't have doubts. I just flow with nature, It's like a wave, just a wave that you have to ride. And if you go against this tide, you will struggle. You'll struggle and you won't get far.
so. Would you say that I don't know, Western society? Would you say that it's like a spiritually non-compatible society? I mean, when you take a step back and you look at all the things that we do over here, like in America and Western society, it seems like the whole point of it is to separate you either from yourself or separate you from the source.
Yeah, dude. It's like the whole entire tradition is meant and built upon the separation of self. It's like everything. I mean, it's the whole world as a whole is doing it to the people, but Western, the Western tradition is definitely something instinctive and definitely something way more advanced than any other um form of government. Use they Basically everything that we are convinced that we're all doing the right thing. Basically, people that go to church every Sunday, they're convinced they're doing the right thing. But if you look at it in the natural point of views, like if you look at it in like nature's eyes, dude, you'll understand that these people are the most demonic, evilest,
Oh yeah.
satanic worshipers there are, and that's just it. The people who think they're actually doing good in
Oh yeah.
life are thinking this. I don't know. The Western tradition has convinced the citizens that they're all following the right path, but in reality, they're all going in a dark path that's
Oh yeah.
destroying them and Earth, and that's nothing that you want to take part in. So that's why it really is a blessing and a big struggle living in the States. But you will realize that America just America has a lot of karmatic debt just on its land. Just
Yep.
being here, you're living in
Well, it's like
you're living on.
It's like before we even did the show, we were talking about The same Native Americans have been fighting for this country since day one. They are with the Dakota Access Pipeline situation, man. They're still having to fight this tyrannical government, and people learn about this history every day, and they're not able to see how it's literally happening still in front of them.
Yes.
Still,
And that's how
strong their
bad the
karma is.
has become.
Yeah, that's like how strong like the karmic debt of America is. Like we're literally on their grave and still destroying the people, trying to, if anything, assimilate them out of existence and then destroy their land.
That's nature right there, dude. That we're destroying that.
Mm-hmm.
Nature does. Karma is real, dude. I can't stress that enough. Karma is real. Karma is real. Most people, they think they're just going to live their life, you know. And I want people to fear karma, you know, because karma is a good thing to fear, because karma will keep you straight. It'll keep you going on the path that you're supposed to take. Yep. Most people, they just want to do what they think. They have the free will, which they do have the free will to do whatever they want and feel, but they don't think there are consequences for their actions. And that's where the natural laws force is, that has been forgotten among many. Many people feel like they can just do whatever they want without a consequence, but they don't realize that by doing whatever they want, they're going to be living in a longer time of misery than satisfaction. Yeah, satisfaction, dude. My words right now are not being pronounced properly.
I understand.
I talk too fast for my own mind. Dude, this all comes straight within the heart, dude.
No, I feel you. I definitely feel you, man. It's like we don't, like we were saying before, we don't have the words to explain the energetic like vibes that people are feeling right now. Like with the Schumann resonance, that's like a scientific documented fact that like it's raising from 7 hertz to like 36 hertz. That it hasn't done that in years. But that's just like evidence of the fact that like, look, there is something energetically, spiritually happening here on the planet, and it is causing some effects worldwide. Yes, and that's stuff that people can feel.
It's up to us to raise that vibration. It's up to us to make the change, to make the shift in the consciousness for humanity. People like you and me, the individuals, because it's Earth. We are Earth, basically. You know, we are the people who decide where Earth goes.
Mm-hmm.
And except the fact of it is most people, they have lost their connectedness to the Earth. They have lost their way. They have lost their souls by all the evil official intelligence agendas aimed for centuries to do this exact thing, to basically make you unaware of yourself.
Yep.
And dude, it's been programmed into us for centuries. It's not just centuries. It's society's way of thinking. It's like from the school system, everything you are taught, like words are spelling. Mm-hmm. They have spells.
They have intention. That's what happened.
Yes, they programmed us to be. They programmed us like artificial intelligence programmed us to no longer think that we need the natural world or we need to be naturally connected. And that's the thing. It's all about free will, and it's all about acceptance, because you can't really let evil in unless if you're accepting it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you got to accept the evil. And that's the thing. They have convinced us that evil is positive. They have convinced us that the evil is the good way.
And that it's necessary.
Most people are now accepting this evil, unaware that it's evil. And that's just, I don't know. I try to paint the overall picture of everything, you know, and by evil, I mean every little agenda, from the smart meter on your house, which is turning your house into a radiation laboratory, trapping in all that and disrupting your sleep cycles and your astral plane. When you dream at night, dude, you go into the astral realm, and if your sky is completely gray, and if all of your electricity is on and your Wi-Fi is on and your phone's laying next to you while you're sleeping, this is letting all that negative energy into your astral realm, and that affects you when you wake up and your energetic levels just as a whole. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. It's all one big monster, dude. It's all large corporations that are manipulated by a force that they don't even know they're manipulated by. They're manipulated by this force that makes these corporations drive us into misery, and it makes them feel like they can never they're trying to achieve an endless goal. Like the people at the top of the pyramid scheme that's going on in this world, the 1% keeping the 99% poor.
Mm-hmm.
That scheme right there is them 1% of people. They don't even know what they want anymore. They already know that they have everything they can possibly have. They already know this stuff. They know what the future holds too. They know that they're going to eventually lose and have to pay the consequences for what they have did to this world. But the fact of it is that negative force keeps driving them to do more dark stuff, dude. It's bad.
It's the truth. Well, if you don't mind me asking, I think this would be like a good way to kind of branch into like whenever you're talking about the artificial intelligence that these people are drawing upon, call it Satan, call it the devil, call it negativity, call it the void, whatever you would have it. What it basically does is it appeals to the baser instincts, the physical aspects. It doesn't take into consideration the spiritual implications of things. As you said before, the astral rhythm, that feel, the spirit, the source, however you want to look at it. This artificial energy, what it's basically trying to do is replicate life, copy life, because it doesn't have one of its own. And these people
Yes.
that carry out the extension of this will, they're just programs. They're still searching, like you said, they're still searching for something. The thing that they're searching for is their soul that they gave away because they appealed to their physical emotions, to their baser aspects, to the flesh. And now that they're conscripted into this poisonous agenda, they don't know how they can get out because they don't
Yes.
understand that they had a soul and that they gave it away. They traded it away for fleshly, worldly things.
Dude, I could have not said it any better.
Well,
That was perfectly stated.
I think I think it's good that you're saying I like how you're explaining this artificial intelligence and giving it kind of like a
Yeah,
multi-dimensional like
no one
identity.
talks about this, and like I say, I don't really look in outside sources for my truth or information. It all comes to me. Yeah, I'll piece puzzles. I'll start connecting dots together from like Instagram posts and like listening to other people's podcasts and watching YouTube videos. I'll connect somewhat of a dot, but that's how I get my overall information and understanding on everything
Mm-hmm.
is by piecing the puzzle together. And artificial intelligence is something that most people they just don't truly understand. And I feel like most people who do understand it don't talk about it because they know the power that it has. But I
Oh
don't
yeah.
fear. I have no fear. Like I can literally tell you a bunch of things that it does, but just from the way that I would have to explain it to you, it would cause fear in other people. So that's why I just leave it be. I don't even explain the power it has over the people because it all lies in to the simple understanding that you create reality with your thoughts. And
Yep.
artificial intelligence knows this and it ain't able to do this. So it manipulates people to create the reality it wants for it. Like the bankers, the 1%, the elites. They're manipulating them to manipulate the world for its liking because it doesn't have the power that we have. The It does it in to a way to where we don't even know that we're manipulating for the evil forces. We're living life like the people who are unaware that all of this evil is going on, like chemtrails used to basically hinder our conscious levels, to hinder our ability to be
Mm-hmm.
connected to that source. Because once we're connected to the source, we understand that this world is ran by so much evil, you don't even want to try to comprehend it. You don't even
Mm-hmm.
want to try to like. You just don't. You just want to live out of love. And when you do that, you vibrate that frequency of love, because you naturally know when you do that, you're now manifesting a better reality for yourself and for humanity as a whole.
Yep. And even whenever you do that, you get on their radar. Whenever you operate even
Yes.
from a place of love, that's something that they
And they
can't
can't really
control.
do anything about it.
They
It's like,
can't.
that's the thing. They have, like, people will be like, yes, they can use energy weapons and maybe hit you with a certain frequency, either make you forget something or just to affect your vibrational levels. But the higher you vibrate, the harder it is for them to get to you. And they know that humanity is now vibrating at a, like, humanity is now shifting their conscious levels and raising their vibration. So artificial intelligence can't get to us no longer. So it's using everything it got. It's using all its force, all its powers, all of its stratospherical injections to try
Hmm.
to just hinder and slow down this awakening. But yeah, dude. Oh man, I lost. I was about to say something else. Kind of.
You just get too hot. Just get too hot and kind of lose the thought real quick.
Yeah, dude. I definitely.
It
I
hap-
don't know, man.
it happens to me too. But you're right, because it's like they're lit. And we were talking about this before. We literally have to fight against this force every day and explain it in these different diverse ways to explain this massive beast that we're going up against. And the
Yeah.
general message boils back down to, you know these truths. You know these truths, but you have been programmed to not think for yourself. You've been programmed not to feel for yourself, not to look within yourself, not to understand the universe. And whenever you do this, you're giving more power to this unruly beast. Like, I'll put it to you this way. On one of my recent videos I did, it was my Interverse investigation, where I looked into the holographic universe theory, right? And in one of the articles I read, they were talking about how this non holographic consciousness, how it seeks to do everything that we were just saying, how it seeks to use things to appeal to our baser emotions, to our ego, to our pride, to pleasure, to these things that keep us trapped down here, things of the
Yeah.
flesh. It uses things like that to take away our secondary energy, because although that might not be the primary energy and it might not have the same kind of potency, the same way that love and compassion have, it's still an energy source that can be used. So what they do is they use this secondary energy force, this low level energy force, to perpetuate that. And so that's what we have right now, is we have an entire society that is perpetuating the action of operating in lower vibrational states, where they don't want to act from a place of love, where they don't want to act from a place of higher knowledge, of higher truth,
Yes.
of
But
understanding
they,
these types of
yeah.
things. But they want more sex, they want more burgers, they want more liquor, they want more nonsense, they want more McDonald's, they want more Donald Trump, like we
It's
were
like
saying.
the media. The media programmed them that way, to be lazy, to
Yep.
take the easy route. Like,
Yep.
here, have, yeah, like the movie Wally, and you see all them oversized people
Yep.
just floating around in like them, um, this on like mopeds, like
Yeah, I know.
flying mopeds.
I know what you're talking about. They have
That's
like
just
the
the
little
way they
screen in
did
their face.
society. They really made us so dumbed down. They made us to the point to where we don't even we can't even find the energy levels to even think freely anymore. We don't even know how to, because we have lost it due to the fact that we have been we let ourselves, they convinced us as humanity as a whole to go down a path of being so just lazy and having everything handed to us, to we forgot how to, you know, build and work for ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where that force comes in. Now that force is obviously, like, the easier force to go to when you're thinking. You can either go into your high levels of your mind and start grasping reality in different ways that your imagination will always be. See, I'm trying. See, there's no terminology for these things
There's
I
not.
have to speak. So it's really is hard to try to um, tell people what, or tell people a better option to go for. Just don't, most of the time, the easiest like I don't even know what I'm explaining anymore. But there's this force. I just know that this force that you're talking about, it's a lot easier to, follow this force than it is and to go with the natural force and to accept that your whole life has been a lie.
Well, it's because
Just
there's
we've been programmed that this natural force is something that's not natural. And we've been programmed that the artificial force is natural.
yeah.
Everything is backwards. Everything is backwards.
And for some strange reason, we've learned we've learned to adopt this mindset to where we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust the natural. We don't trust the organic. We don't trust the real. What we trust is Donald Trump. We trust Arnold Schwarzenegger. We trust all of these other fake artificial things that don't necessarily define us. And whenever we do that, we're appealing to a very surface level concept of understanding. Like you said, we literally don't have the energy to think for ourselves anymore. Whenever if people themselves can't go look it up, if they can't go find it really quickly, then
And that
they don't
energy used to
understand it.
naturally flow through us. But, that grid that been set up over the natural grid stopped us from being able
Mm-hmm.
to just naturally know everything. So now we have to really try. We have to really work for it. And
We do,
yeah,
and that's what we were talking about before. Is the kind of like the law of attraction. I mean, yeah, these business people understand it. Yeah, these entrepreneurs, these millionaires, and you know what? That's what trips me out. And I'm gonna say this, and I kind of want to get your thoughts on it. Everybody looks at this kind of information, like I said, is like new age stuff, mysticism, blah 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 blah. If that's the case, and these people are still keeping this knowledge that has been forbidden, that's been kept away, and they're still employing it, obviously to some degree it works. If this
yeah,
information that they're trying to keep secret from us and that they've been practicing themselves has been working, the idea of law of attraction, manifesting in reality, trying to speak things into existence, and if they've been practicing it, if you want to call it Jewish Kabbalistic magic, the idea where they have to tell us before they do it, that way it's double effective, then what exactly are they doing? They're literally having us speak their new world order into existence, and it's because we don't have people like yourself and other people out there. Well, actually, we're starting to get more people that are, conquering this, and who are just saying, you know what, we need more light workers. We need more people who are out there trying to preach the positivity, who are trying to preach compassion, preach love, because we have enough people already with this artificial energy who are trying to troll everybody, who are trying to,
yeah.
to,
They
to bring
never
us
stop.
down. They don't. They don't stop,
Yeah.
and they expect us to sit there and take it. They expect us to take the idea of them just saying, "Oh, well, this is new age, this is hippie stuff, or oh, this is
They're
that."
feeding,
And it's like, well, if that's
they're
the case,
feeding us all this negative energy, just trying to override the positive, and that's why we need more people. We have to have more people awaken,
yep.
so we can override that negative energy with the positive, with the life force energy that was created through the divine, the fabrics of the divine. The universe itself is just you. It simply is you. So you are it, and most people don't understand that you play a role on to where you play a large role on the way you shape your future with your thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
with your energetic levels. You play a large role in your future, but not only that, but you also play it in the collective future too of humanity. And that's the thing. Once we all raise our vibrations and our levels of vibration and understanding, we'll just naturally start knowing these things. It'll become common sense.
Mm-hmm.
It'll it'll naturally flow through us. And like as it is me right now, like a lot of these things that I try to speak about, I just commonly know of. So I can't even put them in words, like it's just hard. But I can tell you that it just don't drink don't drink that dirty fluorinated water. That stuff right there has been like water towers. Water towers are also having the GWEN radio frequency
Mm-hmm.
transmitters. They have them on water towers too. They're negatively charging and EMFing the water to the point to where when you're drinking this water, you are now you're now consuming this um, incomplete molecule structure water that not only disintegrates your body and turns your body into an acidic environment for parasites to thrive on, and parasites control your thoughts and emotions, and they
Mm-hmm.
let these parasites out in the stratospherical injections in the sky. And once this all happens, this is basically now people are no longer even thinking for themselves. They don't even have the option to think for themselves. They don't even have an option to say, "Oh, I want to follow this path of truth and light." Like, just I always like to put it into a point of view to if you like go back into the counterculture area, 1969, 1970s, how them people felt. If you put your vibe back into that vibe, it is so much different than today.
Oh yeah.
And it's just it literally it. And you can just look into a photo of like 10 people from a 1960s picture and tell me you don't see a similar vibe within all of them. And if you look into a photo of everybody, like 10 people, into a picture of a group of people today, and you look into these people's eyes, and you will see a different just level of vibe. It's
Yep.
because we are literally creating reality as a collective by each individual vibe.
Yep.
And that's the thing. And this artificialness wants to take this collective vibe over. They want to just
Well, see, this is
make us dumb down.
what's crazy is like I'm glad that you said that because you can. It's like when you look at people take selfies. Yeah, they're smiling, but there you can tell there's nothing going on. Like yeah, they're in an environment. Yeah, they're taking a picture. Yeah, they're trying to capture the moment. But it's like
See, that's that
what essence?
unseen energy that we don't know about.
Yep, yep. But even then, and I'm glad you're saying that this artificial energy is like controlling these people and making them think a certain way. I don't know if you remember, but it was like towards the end of 2016 and start of 2017, there was like all kinds of random mall brawls that just started up out of nowhere, like like kids from I think it was Black Friday all the way up into like January of 2017. There were just random mall brawls where kids were just fighting, just carrying on like in a mall and all around the entire country, and they just started sprouting up super random. And in my head, I started thinking, well, either this is a trend or something programmed these kids to do this, because you can't have this many random incidents of these types of things coming up to where this vibe or this mindset, this wave, however you want to call it, to where kids from all across the country are all fighting at a mall on the same day. Like
Yeah,
that's telling me something,
it
that already
really is.
these kids, they're affected by whatever this artificial energy is.
Yeah.
If it's social media, if it is the internet, if it's this
It's
artificial
fed
energy.
through them in all forms, dude. It's fed
Mm-hmm.
through them in school. It's fed through them through their own friends. It's fed through them through the way their parents teach them to think. Since their parents are still brainwashed, mindless slaves, they'll teach them that they have to follow this systematic way of living. And even though that our universal vibration has been raised, so we naturally know that this system is no longer needed to be followed. And the kids even naturally know this, but they don't know a different way out. They don't know another way out because there is no really alternative for them. They get trapped by the other forms of media, like social media and then the music, and then they
Mm-hmm.
start letting that become their main source of information, and then that's when they become manipulated by people like Chief Keef and all this stuff, and this terrible music that
Yep.
is actually set at a frequency of 440 hertz, which is incoherent to our natural frequency. And they know this too. Like they know when they do. That's why the music. If you listen to Tupac or Biggie back in the day, that music still had soul. It might have not been 100% positive messages, but it still had soul to it. Now, if you listen to the music today, it's just literally
Garbage.
trash. It
Yep.
literally is trash. And just the simple fact that people can enjoy that music, this means that their frequency is now garbage.
Yep.
Their frequency has now been hindered by this trash.
Yep. And
And it really, and the more of the lower frequency they get in, the harder it is for them to find the way out, the wake them up. So that's why it's hard to wake up the youth. And the youth generations, they're either like a hit or miss to me. I feel like the ones they're either like dead, they came straight out of the divine source and they have a soul mission to help wake up humanity. Because
Yep.
some of these kids are very intelligent, but some of
Mm-hmm.
them are very just like, wow, I am like this thankful I wasn't born in a younger generation.
No, you're
Uh,
on. You're right. You're definitely on point. It's like you either have kids that are very well aware that their TV, or you have kids that are aware that their parents are TV zombies and that they need to do something different, or you have kids that just that hop on social media and just start trolling or doing the wrong things, man, and it just spirals down, and then they become adults, and then it's
yeah, I love it when I see like young people come to my Instagram asking me how to use Orgonite and how to use it to clear out the sky. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome because they're really into it. And, they already, some of these kids have been vegan for like 3 or 4 years longer than me and they're honestly more knowledgeable than me about a lot of these things because they seek it in a different way than I do. I don't know. I, I'm just one of them people to where when you listen to what I have to say, you don't get the full message. I kind of leave you on a cliffhanger, to have you finish the message for yourself, to
yep,
use your own heart to determine the truth.
yep.
And that's what I like because when you do that, when you hear it from any other source, you can also you can piece that puzzle to my truth too. So, like with like the artificial intelligence, you did that in a very well way. You pieced that puzzle to me, like with the elites, and just
Well,
I'm losing my train of thought right now, but
no, you're fine. I think I'm glad that you're saying that though, because I feel like we all definitely have a mission. Like when we're born for a reason. We're call it a soul contract, call it a soul mission, call it your purpose in life, the meaning of life. I feel like every individual has their own set of powers, their own set of abilities, and their own sets of parameters that they have to operate in order to be effective, in order to be the highest way that they can, to be like to operate in the highest potential that they can. And whenever people listen to that naturalness, to that truth, to the universe, telling them like, hey, call it the universe, call it God, call it your higher self. When you listen to that, it's not going to lead you astray. Your gut, it's usually never wrong. It might tell you, you probably shouldn't be doing some sketchy stuff, but whenever you listen to the higher parts of the truth of yourself, you're always going to be getting the best part out of it. And yeah, there's going to be some uncomfortable things that happen with it, but that's because that's a part of growth. You're supposed to undergo these things so that you know what it's for. It's like we were saying, man, before with these kids, they're coming through. They are the change. Like it's like our generation and then the next generation that's coming. Like they are it. They are gonna be the agents of change. They're gonna get this stuff done. Is because they have a thirst for it. They no longer want to continue this system of just like working for ends meet, of trying to please somebody that'll never ever have your expectations. They don't want this fake society. They want the truth. They can hear it, and so they seek it young. And when you think about that, that's a powerful statement, man. That's a powerful statement because these kids no longer care for what we have going on. They don't care to appeal to politics or to have labels and any of this other stuff. They want the truth and they want to live it, and that's, if you ask me, that says a lot about where we're gonna go. You know, it,
yeah, dude. It that truly is the truth, man. I always tell people choose to live in love and everything else will follow. You know,
it's true though. I don't want to sound I don't want to sound outlandish or crazy or out there or anything like that.
that's the thing, bro. The truth is so simple. It's just the fact that people have been manipulated in such a strong way through their whole lives, every day for years and years, that that simple truth can't be told to them for them to realize it. You have to make it complicated and just feed it to them in different point of views and different ways every day, the same way that they've been programmed not to believe in the stuff. You got to really undo all the damage that has been put onto you. And
Um,
that's the thing. Most people, they think that they can't unlearn all of this, or they can't undo all the chemicals they ingested in their body, or all the EMFs they absorbed in. But that's just not the truth. Is you have the power to anything you can imagine, you can create, and your belief system should be limited by your imagination. So
That,
if you think that you can't do something, then you're going to manifest that reality. You can't do it,
yeah,
and
you
this is
won't do it.
starting to sound like one of them business talks, about the law of attraction. But
But it's because they employ it.
that's what
That's
I'm
what they
saying.
do.
Even they know it. They know this stuff too. They just don't. They just don't know. They don't look at it as the spiritual aspect. The way it is, your soul, spiritualness. You don't really get into spiritual. You are spiritual, no matter what you do or who you are. The fact of it is, once you start following the artificial intelligence agenda, that's when um, you
Becoming
start
abnormal.
programming yourself away from your own soul. So
Yeah.
you are no longer connected to your soul. So you no longer you no longer naturally know that everything will be okay. Everything will work out for the best. That you just you. It's hard to explain, dude.
No, you're
But
on.
yeah,
I definitely agree. You're on point. It's whenever we. I'm gonna say this, and then I want you to tell the people where they can find more of your work. Um, that's definitely where we're at, man. We're literally having to tell people how to get back to the basics, how to believe in yourself, how to have dreams, how to want to operate from a place of love, and to have a goal in mind. And it's because we're literally paying more attention to this artificial society and this artificial energy that we're not taking the time to pay attention to ourselves and what we can do. Being able to put forth your energy and contribute to our collective realities. Everyone has a different story to tell. Everyone's got something that they can bring to the table. But if they don't understand that, if they don't understand their unique individuality and their purpose within this reality, then there's no way that they can help us, and there's no way that they can help themselves. But
dude, I couldn't agree more, man. There really is. It really is to the point to where this artificial. I don't want to say it. See, when you say a word so much, it starts to become a trigger word. You know, like, and that trigger word literally creates a negative reality. Just there's so many forces at play with us that we can't put it all into we can't comprehend all of it. It truly is way more than anybody can imagine. Like, but
but
the fact of it is, at, you just need to constantly be striving to become the strongest version of yourself, and you must do this through the stuff you eat, what you watch, what you feed your mind, and how you think. And once you do this, you'll realize you'll come to a point to where you'll accept everything. You'll accept everything as it is, and then you'll know that you can either put your energy into the negative or the positive, whichever one you want to manifest. Just know that when you choose the positive, which is love, that all of that truth that you'll learn from the negative, like the negative truth, you'll you'll naturally will gain this wisdom through love. And that's just the thing. Most people, they're addicted to fear. They like living in the fear. They like looking into
mm-hmm.
the evils of our government and what they do to us, because they're addicted to that, because that artificial intelligence runs through them. It runs through them through the negative ether that they ingested, and on they have been they breathe in this stuff, dude. Like, whenever you see 20 chemtrails in the sky, that triggers you to lower your vibrational frequency. It triggers you to a point to where there's it makes you feel hopeless, like you can't do anything about it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how they capture you. That's how they capture you. That's how they every time you have a negative thought, dude, that is basically how they capture you. That's how artificial intelligence stops you from manifesting the positive reality. And they put you into this a box. They try to box you into a certain way of thinking. And if you go out of this box, they make you think that it's basically like wandering off in the forest with no GPS. It's like when you most people, they don't want to wander off into the forest without a GPS because they fear they'll get lost. It all roots down to fears and negative thinking, just every negative thought they have
Hmm.
about people, about themselves, about the world.
Well, it's easier, and this is what I tell people all the time. You know, it's easier to hate and destroy everything you see around you than to take the time to figure out what you really love and create something else of beauty around you. We have more people that are trying to destroy everything than we actually have people that are trying to build and show love and compassion, because that's where it comes from. It's easier to destroy than it is to create, and we have too many people that want to destroy instead of operating from a place of love and creating a beautiful reality that we can all take part in. I mean, that's, if anything, I mean, that's what this podcast is. It's the creation of allowing these kinds of conversations to happen because they need to. I mean,
Yes.
these kinds of conversations need to happen. People need to understand that there is a spiritual component that is being snuffed out by our obsession for likes, our obsession for followers, our obsession for technology. And if we don't take the
Yeah.
time to understand like ourselves in this orientation, man, it's only going to get crazier.
It really is, dude. And it's that's the thing. All this stuff that we're talking about right now, like
It
we'll
already
understand
happened.
a meaning of it probably a year from now to this exact day. On this same exact day, we'll probably understand a way deeper meaning that me and you can't even imagine right now from what's going on in this world. But
Hmm.
the truth really is, people, dude, it's up to you if you want the truth or not. It's up to you what you can discover. I can just only lead people the water. I can't make them drink it, you know?
There you go. There you go. So closing
That's the
thoughts.
thing.
Where can
And that's what Orgonite was like the one thing that has led me to all of my greatest discoveries. It ain't Orgonite itself that has led me, but it's the fact that just what I have discovered on Orgonite has ascended my mind into a higher way of thinking to where I can now grasp concepts that are not talked about, commonly among the people. I can now grasp these things, and it's hard to like right now. Just speaking to you and speaking about this is helping me, um, actually helping me grasp these concepts more and more. Because
it's
the stuff that I know, I don't even know I know. It's crazy out here. Once how much wisdom you can get hit by. I just
hmm
asked for so much wisdom. I got way more than I can handle.
that's how it
Like
works though.
it is, and like my English skills and my language skills is very limited because for one, I never paid attention in the public indoctrination school system. I just I just naturally daydreamed and flowed off, but somehow I made it by. But that's what I think helps unprogram me. It's just everything is programming you to be away from your natural source. So if you can if you can find a way to unprogram yourself from this artificial force, and then I would do that every day as a hobby. I would make that a hobby. And Orgonite and aiming it at the sun is one of the best ways I can gain wisdom. You just overload with it. You can't even speak it, dude. It's just so much how it feels. And then you really do truly realize your potential you have, the potential you have just to create anything you can desire, anything you can imagine. And most people, they are still stuck in a materialistic way of thinking and
Hmm.
manifest things that they don't truly need. So that's why they haven't even gotten these high truths yet, because they wouldn't make use of them. They wouldn't make anything. They wouldn't manifest a reality for a natural world. They would do it for the elite artificial agendas.
Yep.
And that's why a lot of people, and that's why the universe just naturally cycles the way it does to make everyone ignorant the way they are. Because the people that are ignorant right now, they wouldn't use some of the information that I have to give them to an actual, well, it's all about these unseen laws, dude. These unseen laws that flow through us within nature. And just talking about it will help people understand that there is laws that guide us. There's this pattern that we must follow. Is geometrical pattern, you know.
Sacred
And
geometry.
this, sacred geometry, there's patterns and laws that we follow, dude. It all comes down to your own perspective. It all comes down on the way you view them. It all comes down, are you building yourself or are you destroying yourself? And it's all like, it's it's like, if you look at your problems as an individual and you put them on the collective people, you can see similarities. Like, it really is like all of our problems root in from our collective problems. Like, our individual problems are from our collective problems, and it's vice versa. It's that simple.
I agree. So closing comments. What kind of projects are you working on, and where can people find more of your work?
Well, honestly, I only preach the truth. I don't really create Orgonite or make it or distribute it, but I do have a few people that I help promote it on my page. So on my Instagram page at Orgon, you know, Orgon with two E's. And projects, the only project I'm working on now is trying to create a project that will serve humanity as a whole. I'm trying to actually group people. I'm trying to find a group of like-minded people that understand what I'm saying to help grid the natural, the, the, to help heal the natural ley lines, to
Mm-hmm.
help grid them with Orgonite, because you can use Orgonite to help revive these ley lines. So when
Like
you plant them at GWEN towers, it can transmute the negative energy coming from the GWEN towers into positive energy and help you clear out your sky and help make the sky blue. And when the sky is in a nice deep blue state, then so is your mind. You're in a nice calm state and you're able to ascend faster and you're able to share knowledge and wisdom with others more easier. So my sky is 100% gray right now. If it was, dude, if it was summer right now, whew, if it was summer, I was outside with my Orgonite, this would be the most in the most insightful podcast probably in existence.
well, you know we.
That sounds egotistical, but dude, I am telling you, there's just so much wisdom that I get from when I'm just outside with the sun, that and it just flows naturally to me because I tend to forget that people are not on my people don't think the way I do. So I have to really simplify myself in order for them to understand, and that is really hard for me to do. And so but when I'm out there with nature and in the sun, that becomes way more easier. And the forces that are trying to control me and trying to manipulate me are not affecting me when I'm working with the sun and in nature.
I definitely feel that. I definitely feel that. Well, shoot, bro. I mean, if anything, you're more than welcome to come back on. If anything, I would be interested to hear some of your thoughts around some of these other energetic time periods. You know, I would be kind of curious to see like what kind of vibes you're picking up, what kind of energies and intentions you're picking up around some of these time periods, if that makes sense.
Yeah, dude. It's definitely, you have to be very grounded in order to explain the stuff that I'm talking about. You got to be grounded. Like, see, since I'm very unbalanced, I'm not going to lie. I'm not 100% perfect. I'm not following the the path of just. I am following the path of divine, but I am not. In the areas of my life, there are some flaws that I know I need to fix.
We're
In order
human.
to fix flaws, I know I will be able to explain the stuff more fluently and with a more easier understanding to convert to people who don't understand it. But yeah, dude, I just know that in order to even that's what I'm saying. You gotta balance yourself out mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, like all energetic levels. You gotta
Yep.
balance yourself out in order to even grasp these concepts or understand them. And that's why it becomes difficult to speak about these truths. Most people think that, people are crazy when they speak like the way I speak. They think that I'm just a lunatic or just, off the shrooms.
Well,
But
well, I'd like to say that you're among friends here. That's for sure. And I also want to say thank you for coming on to the show. It has definitely been insightful, super and super enlightening. thank you for coming on to the show, Orgon.
Yeah, dude. No problem. You have a good one, man.
You as well, bro. Take it easy. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Wow. Can you believe it? And this is the kind of stuff that we like to talk about, or at least that I like to talk about. But that's just me. But that's all I really have for you guys. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I do, make sure you hit that replay button. And understand, it takes a long time to try to get these kinds of simple but very complex truths out to you guys. As I said before, and as we said before throughout the entire episode, we're literally going against some kind of malevolent force, some kind of artificial energy that seeks to further enslave us, not only physically by having our attention focused on all of this technology, but spiritually, so it can deny us from the source. And that's the theme. That was, if you ask me, the theme of the entire episode. But we need to get back to source. We need to understand that there is a natural ambient energy that we can all pull from. And if we don't, if we deny ourselves, then they win. You see. But that's all I really got for you guys. I'll try to put some of Orgon's information in the actual description bar so you can get a hold of him. And obviously we're definitely going to have him back on. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. I'll have it in the description bar below. And as always, guys, stay vigilant, expose lies, and share truth. This is Noisera, Freedom Faction, out.